Just not true though. Guys, isn't it called the early stage of development in a child? Their brain isn't fully fucking fused up yet. It's not even like
You
what?
look at, if you spend any time in a
does that
social
make any sense?
democracy, you know, let's say you go to Norway and you spend time there where the people see the collective good as tied into their own personal well-being. You know, I think we have so many examples like that. Societies working collectively toward a greater good.
The thing about the Nordic countries and
It's not that your brain isn't exposed to society yet. It's that your brain isn't even developed to have the tools to even understand society yet. Dumb fuck. You don't even have the capacity yet.
my opinion is, well, since they're very, very ethnically homogenous, they all have very, very similar culture. It's not an accurate representation of, you know, what humans inherently are, because I believe that culture can mask human nature.
So you think that diversity would work against working in harmony toward a collective good?
In diversity, we have different ideas of what good is.
I think competition brings out the best in people.
Here's my take. I agree, but I also disagree. It brings the best and the worst of people. It's a double-edged sword. It's a super double-edged. It's almost even in how bad and good
Especially
it is.
when, you know, we're competing for something like, let's try to create this compound that could help, you know, the masses in some kind of health relation form. You have all these research labs trying to figure out what's the most efficient way to figure out this process. What's the most efficient way to do this? I think we need more of that sort of sense of competition, especially in the sciences and whatnot.
You know, we frequently hear about the evils of monopolies. It's because, you know, when you control an entire market, why even bother being better at anything? You've got no competition, you've got nothing to strive for, and no one can choose anything else.
I agree with you both on the examples that you gave, but the thing that I'm kind of struggling with, I mean, if we're talking about efficiency, quality, then yeah, I think it brings out the best in people, but then again, it tends to bring about greed.
What? That's when it's...
Y'all do such a great service. It's a trip to me because, as you're likely aware, that there's this growing support for socialism, an economic system that places people over profit, that you're willing to continue to throw out the same talking points that have failed people so miserably. Again, it's a benefit to us, and I guess we should say thank you.
Nice.
If you care about something, if you're passionate about something, you don't need the threat of someone doing it better than you to do the best that you can do. Ask any creative. Competition leads less to excellence and more towards...
I'm going to go ahead and be hard disagree. It's just by nature. It's just by nature. If you're competitive, if you're somebody who's competitive, and you want to do better, you'll always look around you and see what's going on to improve. It's the nature of competition. You can't break that. You can't change.
Doing whatever you can to edge past the other person.
Today, everyone has the opportunity for success.
Not everyone.
29
Well,
months.
All right, if we're talking about the United States and we're talking about financial success, then yes, I would believe so. If we're talking about the world, it doesn't necessarily have to mean financial well-being or like stability. I think that it
Okay, chat. Yes. If you don't take this topic to the next level and you bring it to the very core of it, that is success. I agree. Yes, maybe there's opportunity, but it depends what your version. It depends what your mindset is on what success is. A lot of it, and people I think in society right now, people have success is having a lot of money, being secure, it's like the whole thing. But success can mean a lot of other things, though.
It
And
really just
overall
means
success,
how you're
everybody can reach
happy
success.
and how you're okay with yourself, and you know, you make a goal and you pursue your
But then
goal,
what-
and if you
what
fail
success
or
is
That's
for them?
achieve it.
exactly what I was thinking. I find that there are so many resources out there that you can enact on. It's just, there's some people who just don't do anything about it.
My first thought.
Yes, as the rich guy. No, it's not like that though. You see, you're so rooted into your version of what success is that you forget that it's not only about money. Money is like it's how you perceive success. But there's so many things before money equals success as a concept. If your goal is being in your community and helping others and growing your community and making sure people are cared for in your neighborhood or your city, and you put all your resources and all your time into creating an infrastructure that helps others, and put your time and you see results, you see like you're helping your peers and people that were in the same problems as you are growing and are evolving, you have success. You're not a billionaire, you're not a millionaire, right? But for the goals that you're trying to achieve, you're reaching the success that you want. And for you, your version of success is what success is. Because everybody's success is different. And the problem is that people keep comparing their version of what success is compared to what people deem as success overall. And they get lost in this weird fucking mist. Man, it's a problem.
Question is, you gotta be fucking kidding me. So many people in this country who solely because they exist, they're under threat.
I think success doesn't come like this. Success comes like that.
It's through, the police. They're just trying to survive.
So everyone's very different. Again, everyone has different opportunities to what they can even consider success. In the US, though, there are a lot of opportunities for most people, though, of course, you can't say all, and there are always those who are extremely unfortunate and should be helped.
I'm sure every one of us is sad.
Some people are unsuccessful as a multi-millionaires, and some people are extremely successful as broke people. That's how it is.
In a restaurant before a Starbucks, those people work their asses off. Any of these low-income jobs are not easy, and they work for pennies.
If your dad had $100 million, right, and he dies, right, or whatever, and you inherit $100 million, or he gives you $100 million, right, and you go around making businesses, right, and you keep failing, and you go from 100 mil to 50 mil, you're right, you're a multimillionaire, you have $50 million to your name. You're extremely unsuccessful. All you do is you're just going downwards, and you're only losing, and you're only failing. How are you successful? You didn't do, produce, create, or thrive in any way, shape, or form. You are actively unsuccessful. And somebody who's out there, who's broke, who's doing something good out of its means, who's doing more of an impact that money can do for him, and with his resources, he's very successful. He's achieving a lot of success. What he has, it has nothing to do with money.
Something goes wrong with their car, they're done. If they have a health problem, they're done.
You're talking about financial success, though. Success is extremely relative and can be defined in many different ways.
In a capitalist society, though, isn't financial success the most important thing?
No.
I've worked in the food industry for a number of years, and
You still have the money to live a good life. That's not what success is. Why people? You're so tied to this brick mindset that dollar sign equals success, dude. It's not though.
can not say that any one of my
Success
companions was ever
isn't surviving
happy
or
to be
living or not dying.
And if they're going to school on top of that, so they're working full time, and on top of that, they're going to school and they're paying school.
I would consider that successful if you can go to school and you can maintain your GPA and you can also be working a part-time job and somehow affording your school. Yeah, you're doing well in life.
Society should help the underprivileged.
Is it what? So they should help the underprivileged. Yeah, of course.
Should help the underprivileged.
Of course, to a certain degree, absolutely, 100%.
Saying if you give a man a fish, etc., holds true. And also, who should do the helping and how is very important. Not all acts of service are equally
Success
beneficial.
is freedom, shelter, and food. That is
to
not what
that.
success is.
I myself,
You're lost.
I'm sorry to use a personal anecdote here, but I've personally dealt with the fact that, giving someone this much aid, they become lazy. My father is an alcoholic. So since due to an injury in his leg, he gets SSI. And what ends up happening is he receives enough SSI to the point where he's not motivated to do anything else beyond just going home, drinking a beer or something like that. And I think, yes, people should help people, especially if they're underprivileged or they need the resources to push them. But to what end?
This is anecdotal, I feel like, yes, there will always be problems and people that abuse the system or people that end up being not motivated because the system helps them. But a lot of people need and depend on the aid of government programs, and it helps them propel themselves and go further. And for the majority of I assume, for the majority of people that have goals, that is like the fuel to their machine. That's how it is.
That's the fine
There
line.
will be data,
But your
data
personal
outliers.
anecdote
It's part of
only
the system.
covers the small demographic of the alcoholic. Most of the people that
Every example you guys have brought up has been specifically about people who are particularly poor, when most of the country is lower middle class and up. That's
That's not a fact. But that you would focus on this in a city, one, that gives more than half of its budget to the police, in a country that just passed a military bill, a spending bill, that's almost $1 trillion. That money goes to defense contractors.
The government paying for things is not capitalism.
But we're in a capitalist system.
Where the government pays huge amounts of money for the things you're talking. Yeah, I'm not in favor of those things.
How about instead of spending the money on the military, how about putting those back into basic needs? Healthcare, education, housing.
I agree. The government taking our taxpayer dollars and funneling it into, they're paying for things that the military explicitly says that they don't need. That's not, capitalism is about prices and transparency and
Yeah, you guys saying true. I understand this is an ideal, but if you're in a certain place at a certain time in a certain system, you try to go to the other place, you can't just make the jump overnight, whatever. It has to be, you have to progress there, and saying, oh, just reinvest everything in there in military and put in this. There's gonna be a lot of impacts and a lot of things that are gonna happen from that moment.
They're gonna be extremely. Takes our money and buys
this
it
is
because
actually an
they
example.
bigger of a problem. The problem is
Capitalism
right now. What the
working.
fuck is on with you?
That is not. That might be what you call capitalism, but when I
has
come
to
here saying
accumulate.
I'm a capitalist, I'm not saying I'm in favor of that.
Profit and ethics are opposing motives.
So I think at its core, to profit, you have to exploit. And again, there is nothing
I
ethical
disagree.
about exploitation.
Yeah, I mean, I can't think. I'm really having trouble thinking of a situation where
I disagree entirely.
someone could profit off of something without exploitation being in the mix, and
If you go to the woods and you
minimum wage jobs due to my talents not being valued by society. I think this is a discussion of what matters more.
Guys, what?
humanity or finances.
Guys, if you take a piece of wood and you go chop it with a $5 axe, and you make a nice sculpture and somebody wants to buy it for $20, even though you paid $5 for your axe or whatever, dude, profit, and it's still
I'm
ethical.
running out of ideas.
if you're running a business and you're the one up top, you would obviously walk away with more money if you pay your employees a little bit less.
I think that profit and ethics can be intertwined when seen with the corporate social responsibility module, when they treat their employees
You exploited the tree.
better, they give them more benefits, they raise their wages, and in turn it motivates the workers to work harder. And
treating your employees better than shit is not necessarily ethical. Like, raising the quality does not mean that you've raised it to a sufficient standard of treatment. Because if you're paying someone less than a living wage, that is unethical.
all I'm saying is it is to some degree more ethical and can be seen as more ethical to be beating competition by raising the wages of your employees and giving them better benefits.
Also, one must be paid slightly less than they are making in worth for a company for it to be worth it to hire them at all.
If you can't pay your employee the minimum amount of money that they need in order to live, you have no business being in business. And I think also...
Okay, guys, even though this guy makes sense in an ideal society, the problem is that I'm not gonna say it.
So there's a tendency from the conservative side
This is just
to
utopia
skew
in
away
these.
from sort of objective fact. I mentioned the MIT living wage calculator, right?
Yes.
That's a scientific model.
Wow.
That 2925. So as a
Inflation, minimum wages, fucking cost of life, motherfucker. There's a lot of things that the infrastructure thinks that they can help that they fucking don't. It's not up to the people. Of course, of course the people are gonna go minimum all the time if they want to fix it.
company, if you can't afford to pay your employee a living wage, that's just the minimum that they need in order to live, right? get the fuck out of business.
Why are we even talking to you when you have all the facts and we don't know anything?
I don't know.
It's hardly worth my time.
Well, we would, sure.
It's hard to really lean towards one side or the other if everyone is just sort of.
Guys, if every company paid people enough money that they can live, motherfucker, there would not be a single shop open in fucking New York and in LA. Nobody would have any businesses. It'd be a fucking desert. Okay? These places, the cost of life is insane. The price of rent is out the fucking, it's ridiculous. Okay? There's absolutely no shot that they made a living wage. What? Motherfucker, what be a living wage in LA? Fucking like $26 an hour? What the fuck is wrong with you? No business would ever make profit. What the fuck is wrong? You're losing your mind.
Stating all these coherent biases and not accepting
You're losing your mind.
any sort of thing from any other particular side, which is why I'm sort of just, I'm trying to understand your side, and I'm trying to grasp really my side of it.
That's the issue. But that's not up to the business owners, though. How is it up to the... What is wrong with you?
Going back to sort of that mutual understanding.
People are inherently selfish.
What can we do next? That sort of mutual understanding needs to be there if we're going to ever continue to see what's best for the U.S.
I think one reason why, you often see like folks on the left.
Exactly, there should be regulation, and the infrastructure should make it so people can't be selfish, because people are selfish. People will pay minimum wage. Increase minimum wage, motherfucker. It's just how it is. If the place you live at is unlivable at a certain wage, increase the minimum wage to a certain amount, so that the people can actually live and buy groceries and fucking have a roof over their fucking head. But the people themselves, the business, they will never be not selfish.
Socialists, communists, anarchists, etc.
Otherwise, you live in a utopia. You live in a perfect world.
Anger,
Where are you living?
Seeing the suffering and the oppression and the exploitation, the racism, etc., you sort of feel this urgency, like we're constantly under sort of this self-criticism and self-reflection about like, well, how do you package what can be complex ideas into ways that are very palatable? And I think
me every hour.
And I think like, if there's a failure on the left, that would be one of them.
I wish that rather than having an agenda that we try to prove and we see ourselves as winning by convincing the opponent, I wish that we could consider winning as finding the middle ground and finding where we're similar and finding the truth. I think if you're in the pursuit of truth, then you've won, contrary to convincing other people that you're right.
The what?
Despite that we definitely disagree on pretty much everything, it's good to know the real common ground here is we as like millennials and Gen Z and stuff, we're actually like talking about this, like whether we were able to convince the other side of anything or not, at least we give a shit about it, This is stuff that we need to talk about. This is stuff that we need to be aware of.
Amen.
Especially given our leaders, so,
Okay.
All right, guys,
I'm done with that. Okay, that was interesting.